I accidentally walked into my brother's room and found out he was secretly live streaming my bedroom.
Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we dig into your sources for those surprising insights. And today, we've got a really heavy one. It's from Reddit, R True Off My Chest. A personal account that it really makes you think about privacy, family, trust.
Yeah, it's heavy. This deep dive, it really focuses on a listener's own story, like a firsthand experience of just profound betrayal in their own home. So our mission here is to walk through what happened, look at the details, and maybe understand the fallout emotionally, practically, when that trust gets broken by someone so close.
Okay, let's set the scene for you. Picture this. A 20-year-old living at home, average suburban house in Ohio, parents, older brother Mark, who's 23. She just finished her shift, coffee shop, planning a chill evening. Then she needs her phone charger, goes into Mark's room, she hears him talking, probably Discord, right? Gamers, streamers often use it, and bam, she sees it. One of his monitors is live streaming her bedroom. Yeah. She mentioned this weird angle, like from up high near the closet, and she recognized details immediately. Her window was open, her hoodie was on the chair, just instant recognition.
It's that immediate violation, isn't it? That switch from a totally normal moment, grabbing a charger, to this deep shock. It's fascinating in a disturbing way how that everyday action triggers such a profound shattering of, safety?
Absolutely. A real punch to the gut. So, okay, let's unpack Mark's reaction when he realizes she's seen it. He apparently alt-tabs super fast, switches screens, spins around in his chair looking totally flustered, and says, I can explain. Which, as she put it, is basically code for, I definitely can't explain this well.
The classic phrase.
His excuses were, flimsy's putting it mildly. Just a prank.
Yeah.
Said he was messing with his streamer friends. Claimed nobody even watches his channel.
Deflecting.
Exactly. Then, after pushing him a bit, he admits what it is. A tiny pinhole camera, the kind you can hide, like in a smoke detector. He'd placed it high up in the corner where I never look.
See, that's crucial. The type of camera, the placement that suggests intent, planning, it really moves way beyond any reasonable definition of a prank. It's surveillance. It's calculated.
Calling it a prank feels almost insulting, given the invasion.
It absolutely is. It minimizes the violation, shifts blame. It makes you question, when does a joke become something so much darker, especially in your own home?
So how did she feel? She said disgusted and violated, shaking, partly adrenaline, partly just disbelief, trust, gone, instantly. Interestingly, she didn't scream or cry then. But then there's the parents.
The family dynamic. How did they react?
When she told them, they went pale. Her dad's jaw apparently clenched up tight. But their immediate response was, let's calm down and talk this through.
Hey.
She got the vibe, she said, that they were maybe more worried about family embarrassment than the actual, potential criminality of it.
That is unfortunately common. This focus on appearances, on keeping things in the family, it highlights that tension, doesn't it? Family loyalty versus the individual's right to safety and justice, protecting the unit over protecting the victim.
Yeah. And they did make Mark take the camera down right away. But it didn't stop there. He started texting her later, saying she was overreacting and ruining his life.
Wow. Doubling down on the victim blaming, that's quite something. It shows a complete lack of remorse or understanding of the severity.
So the fallout wasn't just immediate. It lingered. She describes barely sleeping afterwards, hearing every noise in the house, constantly wondering who saw me, checking her room for more cameras.
The paranoia must be intense.
Totally. And the questions. How long was it there? Weeks? Months? Did he save videos? Was it recording or just streaming? Just endless, awful questions.
That uncertainty is part of the psychological trauma. It erodes your sense of security at its core. Your bedroom is supposed to be your sanctuary.
Right. So now she's staying with a friend, trying to figure out her next steps. Press charges. Just move out. It's a huge decision. But one thing's clear to her. My relationship with my brother is dead in the water. Over. Done.
Understandably, that trust isn't just broken, it's completely shattered. It fundamentally changes how you see that person, maybe even how you see family.
So thinking about this whole thing, what's the takeaway for you listening? It's a stark reminder, isn't it, how fragile privacy can be, even where you think you're safest, and how deep betrayal can cut, especially within a family.
It really forces us to think about those boundaries, the ones we assume exist in our closest relationships. Like the listener herself said, maybe the moral is don't just assume family automatically means safe. You still need boundaries, respect.
It leaves you with a tough question, though. How do you ever feel truly safe again in your own space after something like this? Especially when the violation comes from someone so close. Can that trust ever be rebuilt?
And maybe one final practical thought to leave you with. Perhaps it wouldn't hurt to glance up at your smoke detectors once in a while, just in case.
TIFU by accidentally walking onto an adult film set.
We're jumping into one of those stories that just sounds completely made up, but apparently isn't.
Oh, yeah, like one of those stranger-than-fiction things.
Exactly. It's from our sources about a totally routine errand that, well, it spirals into something hilariously awkward and very, very unexpected.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What kind of errand are we talking about?
Just trying to buy a lamp, a retro turquoise floor lamp specifically. Yeah. But this simple quest in Burbank, California, it accidentally leads our protagonist right onto the set of an adult film.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that qualifies as unexpected. And Burbank, right. That almost makes it understandable in a weird way.
That's kind of the thing, isn't it? The source really sets the scene there. Burbank, film production is just everywhere.
Right. It's part of the landscape. Film trucks, people in weird outfits.
Right.
It's normal.
Totally. So the line between, actual reality and some kind of shoot gets really blurry. It makes the initial mistake seem almost logical.
It does tap into how our brains work, We see something slightly odd, especially in a familiar place, and we slot it into the most, normal category we can think of.
Yeah, the path of least resistance for the brain. So, picture this. It's your day off, friend cancels, you're scrolling Facebook Marketplace.
Been there.
And bam, there it is. The perfect retro turquoise lamp. $40, cash.
Nice find.
And the pickup is super close, 12 minutes away.
Right.
Some kind of office or warehouse building. But here's the thing. No real signs.
Okay.
Just one of those no parking, except for loading signs. And crucially, the front door unlocked.
So not exactly a clear welcome, but also not keep out. You just go in, right? Assuming it's the right place for the pickup.
Exactly. So she steps inside. It's kind of dim.
Okay.
But there's this warm orangey glow from down a hallway. And she hears stuff. Faint music, maybe voices, and this weird rhythmic sound.
Rhythmic sound?
Yeah, the source describes it as like clapping, but slower.
Okay. Weird. But her first thought?
It's Burbank. Probably a commercial.
C. Default explanation. Totally plausible there. She's just focused on the lamp.
Right. Just following the light, following the sound, looking for someone with a lamp. And then she turns a corner and sees. Everything. Camera on a tripod, boom mic, and two people. Very naked. In a, let's say, compromising position.
Oh my God, no.
Yes. Total freeze moment. Like deer in headlights. And what does she blurt out in this moment of pure panic?
What?
Hi, I'm here for the lamp.
No. That's amazing. The sheer awkwardness, just colliding worlds right there.
Apparently, the boom mic operator snorted laughing.
Yeah.
One of the performers tried to cover up a bit, and someone yells, "Oh, crap, that's for me."
The lamp person.
Yeah. Turns out it's Don, the director. Hoodie, jeans, looks totally normal. He immediately gets it. Super apologetic.
Sorry, we're filming here.
Pretty much. He says the lamp is there, but it's in his office, which is currently, and I quote, occupied for other purposes.
Oh, wow. Okay. So how does she even get out of there?
Awkwardly. She's bright red, just wants to vanish, tries to back away. But Dawn insists it's fine, leads her past the set. Past the active set. Yep, to get the lamp. And this lamp, it's not small. It's apparently like 40 pounds and basically as tall as she is.
Oh, come on.
And her, Midwestern upbringing, as the source puts it, kicks in. She refuses help carrying it.
So she's wrestling this huge, heavy lamp.
Trying desperately not to make eye contact with the naked people. Shuffling past a film set.
That is a mental image I won't forget soon. Just pure cringe comedy.
Right. Gets to the car, shoves it in, sits down, and just lets out this quiet scream.
I bet. Processing that. Wow. Did you keep the lamp?
Oh, yeah. Though she apparently wondered if it was, cursed.
Understandable.
And when she told her friend Lily about it, Lily apparently found it hilarious, called it a conversation piece.
That's one way to put it.
And asked if it smelled like shame.
Huh. Friends are great, aren't they?
So true. But the kicker, the source says the lamp gives off this warm, orangey light.
Let me guess.
Exactly like the lighting on the film set. So every time she turns it on, it's this tiny private reminder.
Wow. A permanent souvenir of the awkwardness.
So the takeaway from the source material seems pretty straightforward, at least for Burbank.
Yeah.
Always knock first.
Seems like solid advice, all things considered.
Sure.
But it really does make you think, doesn't it?
How so?
just about how much stuff might be happening just, behind a slightly ajar door, how many ordinary-looking places might hide something completely extraordinary, or just really, really awkward.
Like, how often do we just walk past things without knowing the real context? What details are we missing?
Exactly. What other unassuming warehouses are out there hiding? Well, who knows what? Definitely something to think about.
Indeed. Thanks for joining us on this particularly memorable deep dive.
How I accidentally became some weird artist's muse, and now he wants more.
So, have you ever had one of those moments? A totally normal situation that just takes a really weird, uncomfortable turn.
Oh, definitely. Like, out of nowhere.
Exactly. Well, imagine this. You're just trying to grab some organic strawberries, maybe a bit hungover, and suddenly, boom, you're someone's artistic muse.
Yeah.
Without really asking for it.
Right. And that's exactly the story we're digging into today, an anonymous post from an online forum.
Yeah.
And our goal here really is to unpack these kind of tricky dynamics in creative relationships. Where do boundaries blur? What happens when, personal space crashes into someone's artistic vision?
That's the core question, isn't it?
Yeah.
When does inspiration maybe tip over into obsession?
Precisely.
Okay, so let's set the scene. It's a Saturday morning, Oregon Farmers Market. Original poster, You Coffee for Breakfast 89. Great name, by the way.
Yeah.
Feeling rough. Rocking an oversized Not Today hoodie. Just wants her strawberries and, I think, an iced latte. Standard weekend mission. Totally. Then this artist shows up. Mid-30s. Messy hair. Linen shirt. You can kind of picture the type, maybe.
The archetype.
Walks right up and says, "You have an incredible face."
Mm-hmm.
Just like that.
Wow. Okay. Bold.
A bit thrown, right?
Yeah.
But then he follows up, "I'd like to paint you." And, well, she kind of reluctantly gives him her Instagram handle. She actually calls that mistake #1.
Yeah. And that very first step, giving out contact info just because someone asks it, it often sets a subtle precedent, doesn't it?
It does.
It can feel awkward or rude to say no right then, but that's really where the whole boundary negotiation kind of starts, even if you don't realize it.
Mm-hmm. So she checks out his art online. And it's good. She says it was moody, slightly surreal, compelling stuff.
Okay, so he's got talent. That complicates things, maybe.
Right, so she agrees to a studio visit. And importantly, it was in a public space, like an artsy co-working space. So, relatively safe feeling.
That's a smart move.
But even there, it got a bit weird. He didn't ask her to pose traditionally. He just wanted her to exist naturally. Just scroll on her phone while he just stared at her, trying to, quote, memorize her bone structure.
Yeah, that's it. That's intense. Less like a portrait session, more like, I don't know, an observation experiment before any art even happens.
Exactly. And then fast forward just 2 weeks. He invites her back, says the painting's done.
2 weeks, wow.
Yeah, and it's not some small sketch. It's a massive canvas, almost as tall as she is.
Oh.
Titled The Woman Who Knows. She said it was dreamlike, kind of her, but not really her, with dark shadows and this surreal, abstract chaos in the background.
Sounds loaded.
And here's the kicker. People loved it. Online, people started tagging her on Instagram as the Muse.
Oh, wow. Public exposure she didn't sign up for.
And worse, he sold a print of it without telling her, without asking.
Okay, that's a major line cross. Profiting off someone's image without consent, that's not okay.
Not at all.
And it really seems like that public validation, like you said, just poured fuel on the fire. It looks like that's when his obsession really escalated.
Yeah, the text started getting weirder.
Like how?
Well, imagine getting messages like, "Do you ever dream of water?" or "Your hands. There's something in the way you hold a cup." Just really intimate, unsettling observations.
Ugh. Yeah, that's creepy. Overly familiar.
And then he started pushing for different settings.
Oh.
Yeah. He specifically suggested things like meeting alone in the forest at dawn, or having her pose lying on the floor with natural light.
Okay, red flags everywhere now. Big ones.
She obviously expressed discomfort. But his response, so dismissive. He just said, "Art isn't about comfort, it's about truth."
The art demands suffering excuse. Usually invoked when the artist isn't the one suffering. His truth seems to be trampling all over her comfort and autonomy.
Totally. And then came the absolute final straw, the point of no return.
What was it?
For his next piece, he asked her to, quote, evoke the rawness of a confession.
Evoke rawness.
By telling him her darkest secrets, so he could, again quoting, see them in your eyes.
Oh, absolutely not. That's not asking for inspiration. That's demanding emotional excavation.
Okay.
Total violation.
Right. So understandably, she firmly ended the whole thing right then. Done.
Good for her. And his reaction.
Soaky.
Yeah.
He actually said, "You don't understand the gift you've been given to inspire."
Wow. The entitlement there is something else. Seeing her inspiration as his right, not a respectful interaction. It's completely one-sided in his head.
Exactly. And her final takeaway, the sort of moral of the story she wrote, it's just perfect. Being a muse sounds cute until someone starts treating you like a character in their personal fever dream.
Oof. Yeah.
And then she just adds, "I just wanted strawberries, man."
Ha! It really brings it back down to earth, doesn't it? How this whole intense, weird saga started from such a mundane errand. A reminder that boundaries need to be clear, maybe from the very first hello.
Yeah, this whole deep dive, it just really highlights that super fine line, doesn't it? Between, like, genuine artistic inspiration and making someone deeply uncomfortable. And how vital it is to establish boundaries, even when, maybe especially when a situation feels flattering or just unexpected at first. Yeah. That first moment counts.
It really does. And it leaves you thinking, doesn't it? What responsibility do artists actually have towards the people they depict? Their well-being, their privacy?
Yeah.
How much vulnerability is okay to ask for, for the sake of quote-unquote truth in art? It's a tough question, maybe something for you, the listener, to think about. What would you do if you suddenly found yourself in that kind of unintentionally inspiring spot?
My neighbor offered to pay me to walk around my apartment in lingerie.
Okay, so let's unpack this one. Imagine this. You're coming home, maybe after a jog, keys in hand, and boom, your neighbor pops out and asks something that just makes your brain totally freeze up. That's exactly where we're diving into a Reddit thread from relationships about an offer that's, well, it's pretty unique.
Yeah, it really is. And what's fascinating here, I think, beyond just the initial shock of the offer itself, it's the layers of discomfort, the sort of unexpected psychological fallout for this woman. She's just trying to live her life in a normal apartment in Portland, Oregon.
Right. So our mission today really is to distill the core of this, let's call it bizarre, neighborly interaction. We'll explore the actual offer, the reactions, which are very human, and what it really means when your sense of privacy, your safe space, gets fundamentally shaken. And we're pulling this all directly from the source material you shared with us.
Okay, so let's set the scene a bit. We've got this 28-year-old woman. She's living alone, works from home marketing for an outdoor gear company. Pretty standard stuff, her usual at-home look. Think oversized hoodie, leggings, hair up. Probably relatable for a lot of us working from home. Oh, and her cat, Bean, is apparently always sprawled on her desk.
A classic work from home setup. And then there's the neighbor, Gary, not his real name, obviously, across the hall. Late 40s, divorced, works kind of weird hours. The post describes him as friendly, but like in that overfamiliar way. Apparently he knows a bit too much about her grocery runs, things like that. Why is that detail, that overfamiliarity, kind of key here?
Well, it's important because it establishes this pre-existing low-level boundary pushing, maybe, a boundary creep. It suggests he's already been observing her more than you'd expect. He's a little too invested, maybe, in her just mundane daily life, which kind of sets the stage for the discomfort later when he pushes things much further. Before this, it was just, typical hallway small talk.
Okay, so that sort of low-key weirdness is already there. But then things really escalate when Tuesday night she's just gotten back from a run, sweaty, short sports bra, messy hair, the whole picture. And she's juggling keys, trying to get inside, holding some Trader Joe's frozen dumplings and oat milk, just normal stuff. And Gary steps out of his apartment holding a garbage bag. Seems totally normal at first.
Exactly. And then, bam, it takes this really startling turn. He just casually says, "Hey, starts off hesitant. Yeah. This is going to sound weird, but would you ever be open to making some extra cash?" You can imagine her thinking, okay, maybe cat sitting. Or like some weird multi-level marketing pitch.
Right, something awkward but maybe explainable. But no, he goes right for it. He says, if you wore lingerie around your apartment sometimes, when you're walking by the window, I'd pay you for it. Nothing else, just you being there.
The casualness of that proposition is just what? Yeah, just you being there. And her reaction, she describes it as brain lag, buffering wheel spinning, total freeze. Her default response was just this awkward laugh, and she mumbled something like, that's not really my thing.
And Gary, totally unfazed, just hits her with a no pressure, just figured I'd ask, and then he just walks away.
Which is almost creepier in a way. That lack of reaction.
It really is. And she's just left there, frozen, dumplings probably getting warm. She says she spent the night just replaying it. Did he just proposition me? Is this some weird fetish? Should I be creeped out, or is it just pathetic? And I found this really relatable. She mentioned this petty gremlin in her brain, also kind of wondering, okay, but how much are we talking, Gary?
Huh. Yeah, that's such a human sort of coping mechanism, right? But the lasting impact is no joke. She started actively avoiding him, obviously, pulling her blinds down all the time, making her place feel like a submarine, she said. Every little noise in the hallway suddenly puts her on edge. And even though Gary hasn't brought it up again, that phrase, she says, it's burned into my brain in Comic Sans font, which is such a vivid way to put it. Her home, her safe space, now feels exposed, like a stage.
Yeah, that changes everything. And the reactions she got when she told people, also really interesting, kind of all over the place. One friend was immediately like, that's super creepy, tell the building manager. Another friend apparently joked, girl, you should have asked how much and then bought a curtain.
Right. And then her mom apparently said, well, at least he's honest, which is, wow, before quickly changing the subject, thankfully.
Yeah, quite the range. So what's the core unsettling feeling here? Because she says she doesn't necessarily think he's like physically dangerous.
Exactly. It's not about immediate fear of attack. It's the deep, profound discomfort of knowing a neighbor, someone who shares her immediate space. Things of her like that, that he sees her presence in her own home as something he can, put a dollar value on. It's objectifying in a really insidious way. And it's made her seriously rethink living alone in that building once her lease is up.
That makes total sense. It really raises that question, doesn't it? When does an interaction, even one that seems kind of casual or non-aggressive on the surface, when does it cross that line into being deeply unsettling?
And the fact that Gary hasn't mentioned it again, it doesn't erase the impact. That initial request fundamentally changed her perception of her environment.
So what's the takeaway here for you listening? I think this deep dive really highlights how our sense of safety, our privacy, it can be shaken by things that aren't overt threats. These boundary violations, even seemingly small ones, can reshape how we feel about our own homes. And that phrase Gary used, no pressure, sometimes no pressure, actually puts the most pressure on someone, forcing them into this really uncomfortable internal space.
That's a really good point. The pressure becomes internal.
Exactly. So next time you're fumbling for your keys, maybe give a thought to our deep dive today. Always lock your door, sure. And maybe always have some emergency dumplings in the freezer. But also, consider those unspoken boundaries, the ones that truly define your comfort and your peace in your own space. What makes you feel safe at home?
TIFU, by getting robbed by the most polite thief I've ever met.
We're looking at something really quite extraordinary.
Yeah.
It's this story from a Reddit post, an encounter that just completely defies, everything you'd think a crime looks like.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
So our mission really is to unpack this bizarre event and see what it might tell us about, human nature when things get absurd.
Right, because right from the start, what's striking is how our expectations, our sort of ingrained ideas about these situations, they just get shattered.
Exactly. It's like a real-world test of how our minds handle the completely unexpected. So keep that in mind. Okay, imagine this. Quiet evening, Portland. It's about 9:30 p.m.
Okay.
And you, like the person in the story, you're just chilling at home. Maybe eating some cold pad thai, half watching TV.
Pretty standard stuff.
Totally standard. Then, knock at the door. Unexpected.
And this is where it immediately goes off script, right? The person isn't, menacing or anything?
Not at all. Smiling, apparently. Wearing a black hoodie, jeans, a beanie. Holding a Trader Joe's bag, of all things.
A Trader Joe's bag. Okay. No weapon visible.
No weapon mentioned. Just this oddly cheerful vibe that kind of short-circuits any immediate sense of danger. And then he drops the line. Hey, sorry to bother you. I'm robbing you.
Wow. Just like that.
Just like that. But then, quick follow-up. Don't worry, I'm not here to hurt you. I just need some cash and maybe some small electronics.
Okay.
And then, get this. Totally cool. If you don't have much, I can make do.
Make do during a robbery. That's something else.
Ethan, and this is where the subversion just keeps rolling.
Yeah, I mean, the politeness itself is the first major disruption, but then...
He wipes his shoes on the doormat before coming inside.
Seriously. Wipes his shoes.
Yep. And then pauses, sees the victim's Maine Coon cat, and actually compliments her. Calls her gorgeous, lets her sniff him.
Okay, so we've moved beyond polite into just surreal territory. It's created this huge cognitive dissonance, surely.
You'd think, and it gets even weirder. He pulls out a notebook.
A notebook.
With a handwritten list. Specifies what he's looking for. Cash, jewelry, a tablet.
Like a shopping list.
Kind of. But then says he won't take the phone because, and I quote, that'd just be rude.
He said taking the phone would be rude while robbing someone.
That's the story. So the victim, probably just completely bewildered, offers an old iPad and some wireless earbuds.
And the robber's reaction.
Grateful. Thanks, man. I really appreciate this. Genuine appreciation.
Okay, so now we have gratitude being exchanged during a felony. This is...
Yeah, and it doesn't stop. He notices the pad thai the victim was eating.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. Starts conversation about the restaurant. Faux Jasmine, apparently.
They bonded over pad thai.
They bonded over pad thai, talked about the peanut sauce, complained together about new delivery fees, like old friends.
A moment of connection amidst a crime. That's just, wow.
Right. And then the absolute peak of absurdity. The finale.
It gets more absurd.
He's finishing up, right? The transaction is over. He pulls out a crumpled $5 bill.
Wait, he pulls out money.
He pulls out $5, hands it to the victim, and says, "For your trouble. Sorry again for the inconvenience."
He tipped. He tipped the person he just robbed.
He tipped him. And then, as he's leaving, asks, "Do you want me to lock the door behind me?" Or,
"You're kidding."
"Nope." And then proceeds to lock the deadbolt on his way out.
Speechless. The politeness, the tip, locking the door.
It's almost like performance art.
It really is something else. And you think about the victim's reaction afterwards. First shock, obviously.
Of course.
But then, apparently uncontrollable laughter. Just the sheer ridiculousness of it all.
I can almost understand that. How do you even process that?
Imagine trying to file that police report. "Yeah, officer, I was robbed, but he was very polite, wiped his feet, complimented my cat, and gave me $5.
You'd think you were making it up. It perfectly shows how life can sometimes wrap up something genuinely scary and just layers of absurdity.
And it really does challenge our whole framework, doesn't it? Crime is supposed to follow certain scripts, certain patterns of behavior. Fear, intimidation, that's the expectation.
Right.
But when someone breaks that script so completely, so politely, our usual responses, like fear, they can just collapse. The brain doesn't know how to categorize it.
So laughter becomes the outlet.
It can be, yeah. It's almost like a system overload response. When the patterns are shattered that hard, the brain just defaults to something totally different. Maybe finding the sheer incomprehensibility funny in a dark way. It shows how much we rely on predictable behavior to understand the world.
So that kind of leaves us, and you listening, with a thought to chew on, doesn't it? In a world where we're always trying to label things, predict outcomes, what does an encounter like this actually tell us? What happens when those lines between perpetrator and victim, threat and politeness, horror and comedy just dissolve into this weird, polite exchange? How do we make sense of the moments that just defy all our categories?
My neighbor thinks I hate him, but I've been secretly helping him for months.
Fascinating story from Reddit. It's titled, "My Neighbor Thinks I Hate Him, but I've Been Secretly Helping Him for Months." So our mission here is to unpack this whole situation, see what we can learn about, human interaction, misunderstandings, and these anonymous good deeds. It's quite a mix. All right, picture this. A pretty standard suburban neighborhood. The poster calls it meh, outside Columbus, Ohio. And across the street lives Dave, mid-40s, apparently lives in cargo shorts. You know the type.
Yeah, and a core issue right away is how Dave got this idea that the poster hated him. It wasn't some big fight. It was like tiny things. The poster was on the phone, didn't wave back at Dave's barking dog once, or missed Dave's 4th of July cookout because they had the flu, stuff like that.
Exactly. Little moments, easily misinterpreted.
Yeah.
And they just built up in Dave's head. So Dave starts doing these awkward nods, half waves, always looks kind of tense.
Right, bracing for something negative. Even though the poster felt completely neutral, barely even knew the guy. But Dave's mind was made up. This person doesn't like me.
It's a classic case of jumping to conclusions, maybe.
Totally. But then things take a weird turn. About 8 months back, the poster decides to start secretly helping Dave.
It started small. Those Ohio winds apparently kept knocking over Dave's trash bins on trash day. A real pain. So the poster started just setting them upright. Then maybe sorting the recycling that spilled made it a regular thing.
Quietly, yeah, no big deal. But then it kind of escalates. Dave's mailbox door breaks. First, the poster uses duct tape as a temporary fix. Then gets online, orders a $9 replacement latch, and installs it secretly at night.
Wow, okay. That's going beyond just being neighborly. That's effort. And then the yard work started. Yeah, the poster noticed Steve's flower beds looking rough. Said it seemed less like laziness, more like maybe an overwhelmed single-parent situation. So when doing their own yard, they'd accidentally spill some mulch over onto Dave's side, tidy up the strip between the driveways, started pulling weeds in Dave's flower beds too, regularly, just blending it in.
So the poster basically becomes this Batman of petty suburban kindness, as they put it, sliding Amazon packages closer to Dave's door so they don't get rained on, moving lawn chairs before a storm.
Little things, yeah. And then there's this really specific one. Dave's daughter, Emily, her bike chain was squeaky and rusty. So the poster leaves a little bottle of bike chain oil in her basket, just a sticky note for the squeak. Unsigned.
That's quite thoughtful, but here's the kicker, right? Despite all this consistent, helpful action,
Dave's perception doesn't budge. Not one bit. He still acts like the poster is passive-aggressive or about to call the HOA on him. Poster gives a genuine smile, "Hey, Dave," and gets back a suspicious blank and a clipped.
Yeah, it's wild. It really is. That leaf blower incident you mentioned is perfect. Poster clears their own leaves, then drifts over and clears Dave's entire lawn too, while Dave's out.
Right. Huge job, those maple leaves. And Dave comes home, sees his perfectly clear lawn, and just looks suspicious. Not grateful. Suspicious.
It's textbook confirmation bias, isn't it? Once Dave decided, this person dislikes me, everything, even helpful acts, get filtered through that lens. His brain is basically looking for proof he's right, ignoring the evidence that he might be wrong. It's easier to stick with the story you already believe.
Which leads to the climax, I guess. Just last week, Dave's daughter, Emily, she's always friendly. She comes over and thanks the poster for clearing the leaves. Minutes later, Dave walks over. No smile. Just that curt nod again.
And says?
He says, straight up, like it's a known fact. I know you don't like me, but thanks for helping with the leaves. Emily mentioned it.
Wow. Just states the dislike as fact, even while acknowledging the help. That's something.
Isn't it? And the poster's reaction is maybe the most surprising part. They find it amusing. They actually kind of prefer being the anonymous helper, the, quote, villain in someone's head while being the hero in real life.
Yeah.
And they're going to keep moving Dave's trash bins.
It really drives home how incredibly stubborn our perceptions can be. You know, reality versus the narrative we've built. Consistent positive actions just bounced off Dave's pre-existing belief.
So, thinking about this, maybe you listening can consider, are there quiet helpers in your life you might be misinterpreting? Or, flip side, could your own attempts at kindness be landing completely differently than you intend, just because of someone else's assumptions about you?
Yeah, it really makes you think about the gap between intention and perception.
Definitely. What does all this tell us about how complex human connection really is? And the stories we tell ourselves about each other? Something to chew on. Join us next time for another deep dive.
Thanks for being with us.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.